Remember, this is the foot. Like the foot, right from this down. Right from here down. Okay. We have the digits. But that, in equine anatomy or terminology, that is the foot. So don't go to the stable and tell the stable handler that, oh, you don't know anything. That is not the foot. Okay? But in equine terminology, that is the foot. The hoof wall and all of the structures inside it, including that. And then we found that, you see the third phalanx, the navicular bone or distal sesamoid bone, the distal end of the second phalanx is also within the foot. You have the tendon of the deep digital flexor muscle. You have part of where that one ends. Oh no, superficial. But the common or long digital extensor tendon will end there at the extensor process. Then you have the digital part, a cushion, digital cushion. And on either side, you will have the ungual cartilage which will project beyond. Note that you have the skin of the rest of the foot, and the junction between it and the hoof is known as the coronet. That's why some people call the periopod as the coronary band. Okay, so bear that in mind. Many clinicians will be using the word coronary band. They won't bother using the term coronet. Is that okay? Now we said the hoof wall, really equivalent to a fingernail, has three main portions, the toe, and then from the toe you have two quarters, the medial quarter and a lateral quarter. I don't think I have time to tell you how to determine the medial and lateral, but let me look at this carefully. That is the midpoint there. From there to there, have a greater curvature or sweep than from there to there. Sharper this side. You look at that, sharper there. You agree? Much broader there, greater curvature than there. So that is the medial, which is more stiff, and that is the lateral, which has a much greater coverage. Okay, how do you determine the forelimb and hip? You don't have two of them here, but the forelimb has a very broad toe. The hind limb more pointed. Alright, I'm not likely to ask you those in the exam. Now we said that the wall is made up of 2 or 3 tissue layers. The stratum externum made up of 2 parts. And remember, stratum externum 2 parts. The periopod, and then running distally from the border of the periopod, you have the very thin, I'm peeling it off, very thin, stratum tectorium, which is relatively impervious and does not allow moisture to evaporate from the wall, otherwise it will be a crack. Runs all the way to the base of it. Then the bulk of the hoof wall is made up of the stratum medium. Remember we said that the innermost layer of the stratum medium is never pigmented. Is that it? Never pigmented. Okay. For the external layer, other parts may be just like pigmented here, but not here. Pigmentation and the hoof wall, what does the pigment do to the hoof wall? Nobody knows. Apparently, absolutely nothing at all. It just happens to be there. Then the innermost layer is the stratum. have to cover it. I don't want it to dry up. That will be the. This is the starting internal. Starting the laminate running across the system. See the laminate? How many of them are there? 600. About 600. That okay? And the laminae are also non-pigmented. So the deepest layer of the stratum medium, non-pigmented, and then just next to it, the stratum internal is also not pigmented. Okay. It is that who is that? Rudy is at his best hand is going on. Okay. Can somebody hit him on the head and let him go down promptly? Aha, no more, that's okay. Okay. Note starting medium, starting internal, together there, rounding down to the basal border. If we clean here, you will see that white line. I've been asking Mr. Stratton to clean the hoof wall. Apparently he doesn't have the instrument. He's done a lot. Clean it and you see that white line all the way. That is the white zone. Okay. So when you are asked what forms this white zone, the innermost layer of the stratum medium and the stratum internal. Good. And why is the white line important to you or to the farrier? Yeah, because when you put the shoe, you should avoid it. See this one? It has had some nails. This one had a shoe sometimes. So that you put your nail outside of the white line. When you make a mistake and go into or beyond it, you could hit this. The dermis. Okay. All right. Now,
so how do these people call that do the horseshoes? How do they know where to nail?
Or they see the white line, and so they put their nail just lateral to it, through there and then out there. Where was that? All right, those are the three layers: stratum external, stratum medium, and stratum internal. Note that the dorsal border of the hoof wall has that deep groove. See that? What do we call that groove? And clear the surface. Okay? This surface, so you're going to it's not smooth. What do we call that groove? Yeah, the coronary groove. Okay. And if you feel it, it's pretty. That is because of the number of holes there. What are those holes? Exactly. Those holes are for the papillae on the coronary dermis. We've used this in the last 4 years to teach. So we lost a lot of the papillae. We lost a lot of them. And then you can see them. Okay. All right. Now let's look at the various aspects on the basal portion. Remember we said 2 quarters, and then the quarters run caudally, and then in the region of the heel reflect upon themselves to form the bar. So the bar there, and and there. That is the bar there. That is the bar there. Bar. Okay. And then we have the frog. Let's talk about the sole first. The sole. See, you see the shape of the sole? Concave. Even in this. Okay. Concave there. Concave there. It is relatively soft relative to the wall. Okay? It's flaky. I can see that quite flaky. Concave. And forms the bulk of that surface. And projecting into the sole, you have this pyramidal structure, which is a frog. Do you agree that is a frog? Okay. Made up of an apex that projects into the sole. And from the apex, you have two roots or crura that run divergently in a caudal direction. And each root blends with the heel of the bulb. Okay? And because of the divergence, they leave a groove. Yeah. What is that groove called? Groove. Called the sulcus of the frog, or no. The central sulcus is the old name. It's now called the groove of the frog or frog sulcus. Sulcus means groove in Latin. Is that okay? Now, let's look at the frog. What type of, how much moisture do you have in the frog region?
30 to 50.
Yeah, quite
Quite a lot of moisture.
about 15% of moisture. This is about 30 to 33%. Okay. Now between the frog and the bar on each side, we have this groove, deep groove. The paracuneal groove. But if in the examination you do not remember paracuneal, you can say collateral sulcus. But I don't think I'm going to be very happy with you. I will calm down and give you the point. But please remember paracuneal, because that is the cuneus. Paracuneal. Okay. Now note, if you look at it, you have very young things. You will see that the grooves between the lamellae there appear on that surface. The laminae there, the grooves between adjacent laminae also appear because those laminae run all the way down. They are in that area. Okay? That is why we shall be coming to that. Remind me to talk about it when we talk about the laminar dermis. Okay. Any question on that? Oh, we spend more than the time I thought we were doing. Okay, so what do we call those laminae there? Now,
Terminal laminae?
epidermal laminae or insensitive laminae or horny laminae. And he has rightly said that about 600 of them are there, right from there. Okay. Now, let's go to this. This belongs to this. Okay, we'll remove this one. This is shrinking now gradually, so it's becoming more difficult to remove when you put it back. Okay. You removed the epidermis. That is the epidermis. And what do you have in place? The dermis of the skin. Remember, the skin has epidermis, dermis, and subcutis. Okay, same thing here. And this is virtually a mirror image of that surface. Okay, one thing I forgot. The frog, paracuneal groove, frog sulcus, but on the inner surface, the frog sulcus forms a spine, known as what?
That is the sulcus.
No, that is the sulcus of the frog. Spine of the frog, or
Spinous.
frog stay, S-T-A-Y. Frog stay or spine of the frog. Whereas the grooves there form the ridges of the frog. Is that okay? Spine of the frog, ridges of the frog. And you have the digital cushion, that part there, occupying that area. And the spine of the frog projects into the digital cushion, holding this in place. Okay, I think that's all we need. Okay? So, the dermis, which is a mirror image of that internal. You see, you have the coronary groove there. And because it forms a groove, what projects into the groove is the coronary dermis. See? Thick. But before then, we have lost this because this was difficult to remove. You know where this came from? This came from the US. Fresh. And my teacher, Dr. Hamburg, who is around, used them to teach term 5. And he asked me, Tom, do you need these things? I said, oh yes, sir. Just give them to me. That's how we got them. And it was not exactly a perfume factory when we first got it. But we managed to lose all of that smell from embalming.
Do you keep it in formaldehyde?
Yeah, we put it in formaldehyde. Once I finish, it goes. Okay, so we have the perioplic dermis. That thin line there. Perioplic dermis there. The border there. Which we produce the periopod and the stratum tectorium. Is that okay? Then we have that ridge there, the coronary dermis, which will produce the bulk of the hoof wall, stratum medium and stratum internal. That is why you have a large number of holes. If you look very carefully, quite a large number of them. And that's why it is rough. Feel it. Say rough because of this one. Okay? So the papillae, the dermal papillae, and you can see only a few of them there. Oh, it's dried up again, you see a few there. Most of it is broken off. But if you look there, you see the papillae? Okay. They project into those holes, and they are the ones that produce the horny tubules that form the wall. Okay. Then we have perioplic dermis, coronary dermis. So we have not taken care of the wall. Then we have this, what do we call that? Several laminae. This time dermal, sensitive laminae. What do we call this? The what? No, these are the honey ones. These are the sensitive ones. Sensitive laminae or dermal laminae. How many of them? About 600. What do? They interdigitate. These would interdigitate with those, so that the hoof wall can be held in place. And because of that, there's very little space between dermal and epidermal. Therefore, these laminae do not produce any horny material. There's no space. Except distally, each of them has the terminal papilla. Remember? Okay. Terminal papilla. Just projecting them. Longer than this papilla. And what do they do? The terminal papilla, that's why I asked her to remind me, the terminal papilla will produce the straw-colored amorphous horny material that will bind the soul to the wall. So the terminal papilla there project just at the fringe there, producing the straw-colored material that will hold this onto this. And in addition, fill those spaces as they, which would have been present if the horning material was not produced. Okay? Remember, we told you that the adjacent spaces between them run up to that surface. Does that make sense? So if you are asked, the terminal papillae produce what type of horn? You should be able to say. It is not white. It's part of the white zone, but it's not white. If you look at it, to that region, you will find a white zone running on the outside, and just deep to it, this straw-colored horning material, which is produced by the terminal papillae to bind the sole to the hoof wall and to ensure that material cannot move through those spaces there. Is that all right? Good. So, periopic, coronary, and laminal dermis. Now let's look at the basal. We have the sole dermis and we have the frog dermis. Look at the number of papillae. We lost a lot of them already. See them? Very rich in papillae. It's those papillae that will produce the sole and the frog of the wall. Okay, I think that is all we need to. In a nutshell, if you remember this, you are on your way to understanding the